Hello, welcome back to the Back to Grad School Challenge. You did it. You are halfway through the challenge. We are on day 3. And so if you're unfamiliar with the Back to Grad School Challenge, it is a challenge for graduate students at the beginning of the semester to help you set yourself up for a very successful and productive semester of grad school. So what we're doing is we're going step by step, and by the end of the week, you'll have a productive weekly schedule that you can follow every single week. Hi, Scott. So good to see you as well. Hello, hello. Yes, if you're here, definitely say hi. And if you're watching the replay, feel free to leave your questions or your comments throughout. So, in today's prompt number 3, so this is day 3. After choosing your top 2 goals and writing down the action steps that it will take to achieve those goals or make progress on those goals, is now time to talk about time management. So, time management is going to be very important because often we underestimate how long things take to get done. And so we think, okay, I just have these 3 things on my to-do list. I should be able to knock that out by lunch. But then task number 1 on your list takes 2 days, right? So we want to kind of anticipate how long things are going to take, and not that you're going to be correct. So I do want to state this as a disclaimer. What we're doing now, these plans that we're setting right now, they're truly just a guess and not even an educated guess. We're doing an uneducated guess right now, but we're giving ourselves targets. And so the idea is you give yourself an uneducated guess to see if you can fit what you want to do in those constraints. And then each week you reflect, well, how did this go? Was I able to get everything done in the amount of time that I said I did? Does this type of task take longer? And do I need to plan differently next week? So every week you can update your plans. And so week after week, you're going to get better and better at predicting how long things will take and how to actually build a schedule that works. Exactly. Scott says I go back in a month this time. Oh yeah, Scott, you got this. So let's talk about time. So often we write a to-do list and just write it as a list of things you want to get done. But what you want to consider is, how long will it take to get each of these things done? Or how long do you want to work on this before you move on to the next test or to the next task? So I have a question. Should this be every week or a quarterly basis? You do it as long as it takes for you to be accurate. So I do this weekly. So I prepare my week in advance and kind of think about what I want to work on. And then like day to day, I'll write my to-do list and I'll write in how long each thing should take me. And then at the end of the week, I go back and say, oh, well, I was spot on here. It took me 2 hours to write this proposal or whatever. But it took me an hour and a half to prepare for class, and I only scheduled 30 minutes to do that. So I know next week I need to be scheduling an hour and a half to prepare for class in the next week. So you iterate on this process week after week until you get more accurate and you're better able to determine how long each of your tasks takes. Write a get to-do list. Exactly. Oh, you write a get to-do list. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so what I had you do was break down your top 2 goals into actionable steps. And then I wanted you to write down, well, how long should I be spending on each of these actionable steps every single week? And so you may notice that with one of your top goals, you're probably going to spend a lot of time because it's a goal that you're that is very impactful for you, that you're really wanting to spend a lot of time on. And you may see that one of the goals that you set, you actually don't need that much time to work on it every single week to make progress, which should feel pretty freeing. So everyone is going to be different. Depending on what your goal is, it may take you a lot of time that you need to spend to actually make progress on your goals. Or it could take just a little bit of amount of time, maybe an hour each week to get it done. So I wanted to share some examples to go along with different goals that people have shared in my Facebook group. So here is an example. One person said, to achieve goal number 1, which is catching up with my schedule, I will spend an hour every Sunday to plan out and adjust the upcoming week schedule. So this is an example where one of the priority goals, one of the top 2 goals, does not actually take that much time to do every single week. The same person also says, to achieve the goal number 2 of contributing in my classes, I will spend 3 hours minimum every week to join study groups online, 2 hours every week to review what I've learned with the spaced repetition method, and 5 minutes every day to read daily affirmations to boost self-confidence. So I love that this person has an action step that's not necessarily academic related, but it's something that will help her in her academic experience. Okay, and let me read another example for you. All right, so this person says, I'll start with allocating 4 hours per day on weekdays for my goal of submitting and successfully defending my thesis proposal. And this person actually created a schedule, which we'll work through on Friday. We'll work on building a schedule together. But she created blocks of time for self-study, blocks of time for virtual co-workings, and weekends were her rest days. All right. And then for their goal of administrative work for data gathering activities, I'll do it for 1 to 2 hours in the afternoon on weekdays and block out 1 to 3 p.m. for it, especially for days when I have to visit a government office. And this person even included action points, 1 through 2 of goal number 2 to coincide with the timeline of goal number 1. So this person's 2 goals are actually related to each other. Okay. Yes, you like the specificity. Yes, that is the key here, being very specific. So like you mentioned, SMART goals, be very specific with your goals, be very specific with your steps. That way you can more accurately determine how much time you need to dedicate to actually make progress towards your goals. All right. Are these students full-time or part-time? Some are full-time, some are part-time. I'm not sure, but typically people who participate in this challenge is always a mix. So definitely don't necessarily compare your times to everyone else. What I found for people who work part-time, they're typically working on the weekends. And so more time is spent working on their schoolwork on the weekends and in the evenings, where students who are full-time have more time during the day to work, and then they take a rest in the evenings, and maybe they just work 1 day of the weekend. So it really just depends on your life and your structure. But you want to make sure that you are dedicating enough time to actually make progress on your goals, and the amount of time you set for yourself, you want to try to get it as realistic as possible, noting that you will not be perfect the first time you schedule things out. You'll need to reflect and update week to week. All right, Scott says, I've been trying to do too many things. I have a couple businesses to run as well. And you're a grandfather, I know. And I've been getting the grades, but a lot of last minute panic. Took a term off, fixed a lot of things, saying no. Yes, yes. So we will get into it just a little bit on Friday and talk about boundaries and boundary setting, because that is going to be part of this process of creating this productive weekly schedule, is being able to stick to a schedule. And that involves saying no to things that don't align with your goals. So yes, I love that. I'm glad you're saying no to things, Scott. So what are your thoughts about journaling? I think journaling is really helpful. I actually wrote a blog post on my website somewhere a long time ago about journaling as a graduate student. I think it's really helpful for me whenever I'm feeling kind of so I will say I do rarely get stressed and overwhelmed, but whenever I have a lot of decisions to make that I have not made yet, it does start to stress me out. So something that I will do is just literally write out all the things I'm thinking. And somehow through this process of journaling, I'm able to see, oh, here's my next step. And something about just getting it out of my brain and onto a piece of paper just really kind of helps me de-stress. So yeah, I do advocate for journaling, especially like at the end of the week. So you can kind of think about, well, what things went well, what things didn't go well. And then at the beginning of the week, well, what do I want to try to achieve this week? And what is my vibe going to be like throughout the week? What things do I want to say yes to? And what things do I want to say no to? You can always decide what you want to say yes to and no to ahead of time. You don't have to wait until someone asks you something. You can already know, well, I'm not saying yes to this type of thing because I'm focusing on this other thing. Let's see. How do you incorporate self-care? I will start by saying self-care looks differently for different people. So for me, I would say self-care to me is having a stopping point for working. So I am doing this after 5 p.m., but typically I don't do any work after 5 p.m. because I'd like to have the evenings to myself. I'm a morning person. I do my best work in the morning. I'm most productive in the morning. My most quality work happens in the morning. And as the day goes on, the quality of my work gets less and less. So I like to use the evenings to refresh. So I'm not typically working after 5. I love watching YouTube. I actually watch YouTube more than I watch like TV shows. Working on my business. I like to take dance classes. I like to take workout classes. Go for a walk. Someone in my focus group does what she calls sunshine walks, where just in the middle of the day, she'll just go outside and go for a walk. I found that was really helpful for me when I was in grad school, when I was just like thinking a lot about the same thing. I was like, let me just get out of my office and just go for a walk around campus. And that was really nice. You can also go for a walk in your neighborhood as well. Also, if you have my Grad Boss Planner, I have a checklist of self-care activities that you can implement as well. All right. This is our chat on time management. If you have questions, let me know. I will let you all know that this Saturday we are having a planning session for all the students who are in my Focus program. So if you like to join Focus, this is a great time to do it because we have a planning session on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And then also, Focus is 35% off until Friday this week. So it's a great time to join. Oh, yes, you say you do have the planner. Yes, good. All right. So if you're curious about Focus and want to join, definitely check out my website, theacademicsociety.com/focus. And I will see you tomorrow because we are going to talk about, what is it? Time efficiency? Is that what I titled it? Let me double check what I called it. Diversifying your time. So all through this week, we have been talking about the top 2 goals. What are the action steps for the top 2 goals? How much time are we going to spend on the top 2 goals? But there's so much more that you have to do in grad school than just your top 2 goals. So we're going to talk about how to integrate that in with your top 2 goals and diversify your time. So that is what we will talk about tomorrow. And you are so welcome. I will see you then. Bye.